Hey, this is Chris, keeping it real, facts over fear. How you doing? So the cases are going up. Don't know exactly what word. I would say dramatic is a fairly decent word to use. I mean, it's going up like 300, 350% in the last couple weeks on a 14-day rolling average is pretty significant. And so I'll have to check that stat, but I think that's about right. So what can you do to stay safe? Well, you can continue to do what I hate to say it, the CDC says continue to do. But I think follow that guidance because I think it's okay. I think they have finally ended up at the right guidance after, really many, many months of indecision. And I don't know exactly what their problem is. Of course, they are a bureaucracy, and so therefore they are not quick to react to anything. And so that's all I'll say about them. Okay, and the WHO, they can throw them in there too, except they're way more incompetent. So you can go outside, do things outside. It's darn hot here in North Carolina right now. It's not so much hot; it's humid, and so if you go to do anything at all, I sweat. It's just like, it is totally miserable, and that's one of the things you have to deal with here. But yeah, go outside. Any outside activity, I truly believe, is completely safe. Given the fact that I believe that COVID-19 is an aerosol disease, which means it's spread by particles so tiny that they stay in the air. But if you're outside, even the slightest air current will carry those away in a matter of, a second. And so, the virus depends upon being able to get down into your lungs. And so if you're not breathing a high enough concentration of it, you're not going to get it. I mean, you might get some virus in you, but there's a certain amount it takes. It'd be nice if somebody could figure out how much. I'm sure there's some experiment we could do that wouldn't violate our ethics about experimenting on people, unless, of course, we're developing a vaccine, but that's another story. So going outside, I think, is safe. I think even crowded outdoor spaces are safe. Unless you notice somebody just doesn't look good, or they're coughing and hacking up a lung and stuff like that. And most normal people wouldn't do that. I don't know that I'd go to like a football game, but I probably would, because I just know it's not that big a deal. I think the Olympics, and I understand it's up to the Japanese people to make up their own minds, and I know that they're not well vaccinated at all, so there's probably a greater risk there with big crowds. But still, I think any outdoor activity is safe. This is not medical advice, by the way. This is just what I think. The second thing you can do if you're indoors, continue to social distance. I really do believe that is the most important aspect of this. I go to the grocery store. I go to any store, and I see the plexiglass barriers. I think those are here to stay, and I don't think they're a bad idea. I don't think it really gets to the root of how coronavirus affects other people, but I think you put a big physical barrier between you and the cashier, because the cashier's exposed to everybody, right? And so, a good hard physical barrier. And of course, if you're in a grocery store, that's 50,000 square feet, or maybe even if it's a smaller one, you're talking square feet, excuse me. You're talking about if the ceiling is 12 feet high or 14 feet high, or however high those ceilings are in there, you're basically outside. And of course, any big commercial building like that has a sufficient ventilation system that actually does ventilate the building. It's not like a house where the air goes into the return, it goes through the unit, it gets cooled down, it gets pumped out of the vents, and it's the same air back and over and over and over again. A big commercial building like that, or most restaurants, They are constantly exchanging outside air for inside air. It's kind of like they might as well just leave one of the front doors open all day long. Leave the front door and the back door open and put a fan in one of them. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. And so you're getting a lot of turnover in the air. So, but I still think, even a physical barrier. I mean, it's like, and not really so much for COVID, but for all the other things that you can catch that really are droplet transmitted. A droplet being something that doesn't stay in the air very long, but you spray somebody down with a bunch of droplets that are too small to see, but still nevertheless get on them. I think that will cause a reduction in all kinds of viruses, not just coronavirus. What else? I think that's about it. Try not to interact a lot with strangers, people that you don't know, people that you don't normally see. Family, well, I mean, all I can say is our family's been gathering together since last May. About Mother's Day last year, my mother said, "Look, I don't care." And she's the old one. And so, she's the one, and she's the one that was going to bear the burden of that. And so it's like, okay, well, we'll do it. And so we've been fine. I've only had one person, not in our immediate family, but in our extended family, that's gotten COVID-19. A nephew got it, and he's down at Fort Bragg, and that kind of, people in and out, right? But even that was last July. And he was actually at our house for the 4th of July. And he had it at that time, and nobody got sick. Probably because we spent most of the day outside. Excuse me. So I think those are the two main things. Do things outside. Keep your social distance. Everything else is totally, incredibly secondary or tertiary concern. All right. Just be careful. Just use your common sense, right? And don't be around a lot of people that you don't know for extended periods of time. I mean, I'm not saying like, oh my gosh, you see somebody at a family get together and you're all outside having a picnic. That's not a big deal. Just use your head. I think that's what a lot of people aren't doing right now. They're not using their heads. All right. You got any questions or comments? Leave them in the section below. Like and subscribe. We appreciate when you do. And we'll see you on the next fact-filled video.